thing that the market is really looking out for right now is at the bottom of your screens. Reliance's pre-open rate has settled at 25.80, which means that the discovered price for Jio Financial Services that stands at 261.85. And that means that's actually much higher than what the market also, Nikunj, was anticipating, right? This is not the number which was floating around for Jio Financial.
No, much higher, much higher.
Yeah.
Good 100 rupees higher.
Yeah.
This is 250 rupees in the bag. There's 250 rupees in the bag. That's almost a 10% move in Reliance, which you got, because of it.
Yeah.
This is something which nobody anticipated. And when you say, if you really can hold on to, let's say, Jio Financial Services, the conversation which we had with Samir was that it's a business which has potential, scale, skill, ability, pedigree, data, platform, everything. So it can be a sizable, high growth business for many years on that kind of a scale. Even though it is coming from the house of Reliance, it has the ability and the sufficient condition in the environment where it can be really scaled up to a different kind of a size. So Sharad, when we spoke to you in the morning, the general view at the dealing room where you are, the Prabhudas Leela, the dealing room, was that the price discovery would be in and around 160 to 180. It's at 260. That's a good 100 rupees higher than what the consensus number was.
Well, yes, that is what we are getting in. And let's just go ahead and talk with the traders over here when it comes to the settlement price, what it is and what it means for Reliance. So over here, sir, if you could just explain us what the settlement prices were across the exchanges and also any differential is coming.
Yeah, so on NSE, if you see, it has settled around 2580, whereas on BSE, it is just 9 rupees above, which is like minuscule. So somewhere around 2580 is the settlement price. And so the difference comes to 261.85, which shows that market is really enthusiastic about the Jio Financial Services stock.
So a lot of action coming in, and do remember from 10 o'clock onwards, the trading will start. Back to you.
Right, Sharad. So it is at 260 rupees. Now, why is that important? Well, that is important because if you look at the construct of Jio Financial Services, the treasury shares of Reliance have been moved into it. That gives it cash and that it gives it balance sheet size. This is a business where the scale, size, ability, everything will be at play. So that in a sense will be the differentiating factor also for this one going forward. So I think the price discovery in Jio Financial Services is certainly way above than what the market was expecting. Now, this is not the end of the road. It is not that you've got a land bank, you got a dividend, or you got a company which has done some buyback. This is a business which has got incubated. And environment, pedigree, ability, and technology will enable that there is a serious possibility that this business could be scaled up. So, for a long-term investor, this is not the true potential. I mean, the true potential could be starkly different than what the current value is. So for Reliance shareholders, this is something which nobody was anticipating or expecting. If one looked at the sum of parts story of Reliance, before this entire thought of demerger was announced, well, they have the core business, they have the Jio business, they have the retail business, and they have the treasury shares. The treasury shares are getting unlocked because of this. B, the other sum of part businesses never included this kind of value unlocking, which in a sense is completely true blue sea so to speak.
Yeah. And historically as well, Nikunj, we've seen that when Reliance enters any business segment, the kind of disruption that it brings about for the sector, I'm really just wondering, I know it's not an apple-to-apple comparison. Telecom and, branded retail is not the same as financial services. And given how diverse this sector is, it's not a small player or a few players market. It's a very big sector with a lot of players in there of all shapes and sizes. So I'm just wondering what a entry of a player like Reliance would actually do to the face of this sector then.
So let's look at the retail example and Jio as an example. Reliance starts Jio, they change the dynamics of the telecom sector, they become a force and the others are forced to kneel down with their competitive pricing. In retail, the turnover of Reliance Retail broadly is 2 lakh crore. And it is not that they've had a disruptive impact on the retail industry per se. It's not that the Kirana wala has gone out. It is not that that it's having an impact in per se the entire supply chain. What they've done is that the unorganized market has moved to organized market. What they've done is that the Indian retail consumer spend was moving higher, Indian economy per capita was moving higher, and this was a mega trend where they were able to gain some market share with a very organized presence. That's financial services for you. There are a lot of places where the size of the opportunity is large, one. B, there are a lot of pockets where the supply, the entire distribution platform will bring in more efficiency. And typically when a large player like Reliance kicks in, you actually would see the ultimate beneficiary here would be, like in Jio, ultimately it has been the consumer. Ultimately, it really has benefited the digital prowess of India, and ultimately something which has really taken India apart. So I don't think this is going to be a disruptive for the current incumbents because the size of the pie is so large. But yes, it will be a very different experience. Where it may change things would be in the area of distribution, because that's where margins are fat. Insurance, wealth management. Those fat margins in a sense will completely get challenged because of this. But it's early days. I mean, just because it's Reliance does not mean they'll get everything right. And there is a probability and a possibility that they'll move in the right direction. But it's going to be on a very organized matter, and not like Jio, where they came out with such advantageous pricing that they were able to change the dynamics in less than 12 to 18 months. I don't think it's going to happen like this. It's like a long haul trend which you need to bet on.